What's up, YouTube? This is the last preview that I'm doing today. This is Insecure Season 5, Episode 2, Growth. Okay. This felt like a filler episode. Honestly, this episode was kind of meh for me. But before we get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and are not yet subscribed to the channel, I'm going to need you guys to do me a huge favor. Stop, take me out on this date. Hit that like button, subscribe button, the share button. The notifications are on. And with that out the way, without further ado, let's discuss Insecure, shall we? All right, you guys. So, this episode is 1 year into the future. So at this point, we see that Molly and Issa, they're in a good space with each other. Molly has cut her hair. I loved the haircut, right? I loved that haircut. So, you know, we see vibrations in two different ways in this episode. Issa's phone vibrating and Molly with a vibrator, right? So Issa has hit 10,000 followers on her Instagram page for, the block. I thought she was going to change that logo up, but she didn't. So Koya, she's texting Koya, and Koya's at her place. She's like, girl, you here early? I think we saw her maybe once last season, right? Once or twice? Whatever. That's neither here nor there, right? She's like, yeah, girl, I'm here early because my roommates, they be fucking loud, too loud. My roommate is my mama, and she's fucking her husband, my daddy. I was like, girl, your parents. So we see that Molly, 1 year into the future, is still working for the black firm that she was working for last season. But it looks like things at this point she looks like she's happy and settled in the firm. So we see that things between Molly and Issa 1 year into the future, they are in a good space with each other, right? Because Molly had texted Issa about having, spaghetti for dinner, right? And we see them having dinner. And Molly was falling asleep on the movie that they were watching. And then we also see that they spent the night with each other. They were in the same bed with each other. I'm like, oh, they have really come pretty far, right? That's good, right? So then we later see Issa. She's talking to Nathan and I guess his business partner at the barbershop, right? So they want to put on this party, and they're talking about. I mean, they have a lot of requests, but I don't think they have a lot of either funds or they lacking in something. So we see Issa and we see her and Nathan. They go out for dinner, right? They're eating, and they're trying to pick a location for this party, right? Then we see Molly. So Molly, she is over at her parents' house. Looks like they're having a kid's birthday party or something like that, right? So she's getting on her parents because, she's like, y'all can do these renovations, y'all can do this, but y'all can't reach out to the estate planner that I told you to reach out to. They're like, oh, Molly, we got you. Here you go. So they handed her a folded up piece of paper, and it got good china, this person, this to that person. And Mom's like, Mom and Dad, this is not going to hold up legally. Like, I don't know what they thought that was going to do, but I kind of get, we'll talk about it a little later in the review. I get why her parents are so apprehensive about talking to the estate planner, but we'll get into that in a little bit, right? So her mom is deciding that she want to play matchmaker, so she gonna introduce her to this guy Herbert that is that plays down at the church. And when that dude played that trap, Christian music, I was like, oh my God. It was kind of funny. But let's move on, you guys. This might not be a lengthy review because the episode, like I said, it was kind of fillerish, so it wasn't a lot for me. But let's move on. All right, you guys. So now I will say, though, watching this episode, I really was confused. I'm like, how do we... I know we're going to go back and get to how we got here. But because we saw Issa doing this pitch, I'm like, where did these people come from? She's doing this pitch for this designer by the name of Crenshaw, right, who was portrayed by Kofi. So I was like, okay. And she was showing his pieces, and there was a black guy and a white guy by the name of Seth. They were looking at him, and they were into it, right? So, they come up to her after, right? They're saying that they really did enjoy it, but he might be too big. It might be too big for them, right? So they want to reconsider. They want to go with other artists at this point. I'm like, okay. So we see Issa, and she goes to Molly's, right? So Issa, Molly was telling Issa, like, girl, I don't know how you can be friends with Nathan. Like, if I saw his dick, we can't be friends no more, right? So then she's like, wait a minute, I see you got your little suit on. Like, oh, you had your presentation today. How did it go, right? So Issa says that they don't really want him because of his lack of experience, and I really do hate that. When you that is the craziest thing, right? Especially when you get out of like if you go to college, graduate college with your degree, and then you start applying for jobs in your field, and they deny you because they say, "Oh, we're sorry, you don't have the experience." Well, bitch, how am I supposed to get the experience if you don't give me the opportunity? Like, that'd be the dumbest thing to me when I see that, right? Oh, you don't have the experience, but really and truly what that is that's their way of not paying. Most people don't want to pay. In the grand scheme of things, most people don't want to pay for it. Like, pay to put you through extensive, put you through training and shit like that. They just want you to come in, and they just want to give you bare minimum training and throw you to the wolves. So, Molly's mom, she's still playing matchmaker because Issa was like, let me see it. She's like, Herbert can't be that bad. So let me see a picture of him. So she shows him a picture. She's like, his daddy looks good. Show me a picture of him. Show me a picture of him, Molly. So then we see Molly. Molly opens up her dating app, right? And then she starts reading her profile. And Molly's like, damn, I was really on one. You have to have 1 to 2 degrees, no baby mamas. You have to have this and that. But if you notice when her app opened, I think it said there are like 323 guys that want to talk to her. I'm like, wow. After reading that profile, y'all still want to date her? Interesting. I wouldn't. I don't like picky people. I mean, if you pick about your food, that's one thing, but I just don't like nitpicky people. Like, everyone has different paths. School isn't for everybody. But hey, Molly's realizing that she's done the most, and then she gets to this field where it says, what is it like to date you? And she was like, oh shit. She looked at it and she thought about, her past when it comes to dating. Molly hasn't been, the easiest or best person to date. So she got a lot to think about, right? So let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, we see Issa. So Issa is having breakfast with the people, some people that she's, I guess getting this. I think she's getting some funding. So, you guys know, like I was just telling you a minute ago, that she was fighting for Crenshaw, and they didn't feel that he was up to par. They wanted to go with other people, right? So the girl that she was with, she invited Seth down, right? So Issa, fought for Crenshaw, right? And Seth agreed, but he was like, we got some notes. And they want to cut some. So Issa then goes down to Crenshaw, right? And she tells him, hey, we are good to go. So he's like, okay. She says, but there's a downside. He said, what is it? She tells him they have some notes and they want to cut some stuff. He was like, no. And I didn't like the fact when he said, basically he was calling Issa a seller. I did not like that part, right? But, I mean, if these people are funding something, how can you, I don't know. That's a tricky situation to be in, right? Let me know what you guys would have done. Would you guys would have done what Issa was doing, or would you guys go the route of Crenshaw, which we're going to discuss that in just a little bit, right? So then we see Molly. So Molly is on the phone with her mother, right? And she's apologizing to her mother for coming down so hard on her, right? And her mom was like, no, Molly, you don't have to apologize to me, right? Because her mom realizes that, she has some fear when it comes to planning this estate for the estate, right? And, I would think that that would be the same for anybody, right? We all know that in life, we're going to die, right? But when you actually have to sit down and plan out what goes to who and who gets what, that's when I think reality sets in. It's like, damn, I really am getting older. So I understood it 100%, right? So then her mama is still trying to play matchmaker. I would have been like, mama, I'm hanging up the phone. I'm not going on a date with no damn Herbert. Sorry, love you, not doing it. All right, guys, so I'm going to pause here and we're going to move forward and wrap up the episode. What the hell? All right, guys, so then we see Issa. So we're at this event that Krishan, I think it was a fashion show. I didn't realize it at that point. Molly showed up. I will say though, she looks really great with the short haircut. I love it. So it was the fact that Koya, checked her to make sure she ain't got no guns. She's like, she really thinks I have a gun. She's like, well, you did bring a gun to the block party. Because you guys remember last season at the block party when Issa and Molly got into it, the thing that stopped it was the gunshot in the air. So, yeah. So then this woman, babe, was that the same reporter from last season? Or the season, what? Was that the reporter that came up from last season that was not an actual reporter, but she was talking to Issa like she was one? So Issa's doing an interview. Now, while she's doing this interview, Koya is off to the side trying to get Issa's attention, doing all kind of stuff like this, right? So Issa goes over there, and Koya's like, yeah, girl, the reason why I'm trying to get your attention is because of Prince Sean. And she shows her that the pieces that they cut out of the fashion show, he's put back in. And oh my God, I jumped at one point in this episode when this one fool came out and said, did all my invisible niggas go to heaven? I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? So the fashion show went off, right? And Seth actually enjoyed it. I was like, oh wow, I didn't expect that, right? So he wants to talk to Issa later about, future projects and about getting her funded, right? So then next we see Issa. She got a text message from Nathan asking her for a drink. We see Molly. Molly's out on a date. And we see Issa and Nathan. They're back at her apartment, right? Issa was falling asleep. And Nathan was like, you know what? I'm just going to call me Uber. She's like, you don't have to go. You can stay. So they go and, get in her bed, right? And they started kissing. And Issa just busted out crying. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I started laughing when she started crying. And then it finally clicked onto me why she was crying. Even though it's been a year at this point, it doesn't appear that she's completely over her relationship with Lawrence. She wasn't as ready as she thought she was. And that's the episode, you guys. Like I said, it just wasn't a lot in this episode, but it was okay. It wasn't terribly bad. It just really just felt very fillerish. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell button so you guys are notified of when I drop anything else. Share the video, and until the next one, you guys, stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.